Alrighty. Welcome. My name is Keegan Brett, one of two of the people working in the Brainstormers, and I'm going to pass you on to the other person working who's going to go over the introduction for us.
Hi, thanks, Keegan. Hi, my name is Aaron Colasanzio, the second member of the Brainstormers, and I will be going over the introduction. So as we reach the midpoint of the semester, we enter a transitional phase where everything comes together and we start to formulate ideas, solve the ask presented to us by Mr. Mallory. We have done a lot of research and filled out models that have pointed us in the right direction in order to fill the requirements that Mr. Mallory has put before us. A big part of what is being asked is how Mr. Mallory will be marketing his business and what it looks like to compete against the other businesses. Using several models, we looked into what customers look for in services being offered by a business, what opportunities and threats that could be faced during development, and many other aspects to be covered to resolve Mr. Mallory's ask. As we move forward, we will be using all the relevant information we learned from our interview with him, combined with our research, creating an answer to the ask we were given at the start of the program.
So the first thing that we are going to look over is the pestle. The pestle is one of the first modules that we completed and created the base of our research that would eventually become the start of all of our plans moving forward. The pestle gave us a look into forces that could really affect Rocky Mountain Trench as it emerges. It also showed us a host of opportunities that can be taken advantage of and threats to try and avoid or minimize the impact of. A big focus of our research during this stage was the technological and economical aspects, looking into things such as social media, networking, as well as specific industry factors. This research helped start the foundation of our other modules, using what we learned from the pestle, where we were able to create the SWOT model, identifying how we could utilize Mr. Mallory's strengths as efficiently as possible, as well as sharp any weaknesses that may be present.
So we can take a little bit in-depth look into the SWOT, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. The SWOT analysis actually helped us sort out previous research from the pestle and determine how the information we found will be pertinent to Mr. Mallory and his business. Of the four categories, internal weaknesses were the most difficult to find relevant information at the start. Without knowing Mr. Mallory and the business not existing yet, it was tricky to tie information into the category. This has since become easier knowing more about Mr. Mallory from the interview and can be used in solving the ask keys presented to us. However, the other three categories provide us with a great jumping off point into creating ideas that could be used to assist Mr. Mallory figuring out what makes a successful business in this line of work, what customers want from the service being offered, and methods to present them to the public. These were also reinforced after the meeting as we learned Mr. Mallory's prior business history and where his strengths and weaknesses lie when it comes to marketing the business.
The RIO analysis performing 3 has given us a look into the advantages that can be taken advantage of during the development of Rocky Mountain Trench by Mr. Mallory. Looking at the analysis of the services themselves, we can see they provide an unused competitive advantage that can easily be turned into a long-term one by focusing his organization around the services being offered, which ideally will happen during business development. We also performed an analysis of Mr. Mallory himself and the Kootenay National Park, both progressing as long-term competitive advantages being key components that aid to the strengths and opportunities of the business. Mr. Mallory being a one-of-a-kind with a valuable skill set will provide a sense of trust to the customers while they work alongside him, and the Kootenay National Park is one of the other kinds of locations that cannot be duplicated anywhere else. These are both resources that can help establish the business and allow it to grow.
Next, we'll actually look at two modules we performed, the internal factor and external factor evaluation. The internal and external factor evaluation helped us determine which points from the SWOT were actually relevant and to what extent. It also provided us with an opportunity to look at SWOT in greater detail, pulling information from other models, such as the VRIO, giving us a greater appreciation for Mr. Mallory and Rocky Mountain Trench. The two evaluations were also a great opportunity for drawing connections between several of the models, making it feel like one cohesive source of information rather than a wide selection of sporadic research. We can use the drawn connections to help us establish a well-thought-out plan that Mr. Mallory will want to use to develop Rocky Mountain Trench. After plotting out the points, we put them onto the IE matrix. With the data we collected from the EFE and IFE, we can see that Mr. Mallory's business currently lands in Section 5, putting him in a hold and maintain situation. Since he is here, he should be focusing on market penetration and product development, which makes sense due to the business being new and still forming. With this information, we can further develop our ideation a step further. Using this and what we learned from the interview, we have started to condense the 20 ideas we initially thought of into more cohesive ideas, combining several of the ideas that shared similar concepts into something more fleshed out with detailed steps. Our primary focus at the moment is developing a social media campaign or marketing plan, creating a brand identity for Rocky Mountain Trench, and sharing it via social media and a personal website where people can book their services. We want to make use of the online influencers to draw attention to the business while establishing scheduled posts that create consistency for people viewing Rocky Mountain Trench online.
Next up, we're going to be looking at the Taos matrix. The Taos matrix shows us a similar situation than the IE matrix. A big focus of Mr. Mallory will be finding ways he could strike out on his own and set him apart from the other competition, utilizing things such as social media, business processes, and customer relations. It also shows us some external factors in the weather that can become future threats or force him to adapt to changes maybe sooner than he initially planned. We could fulfill some of these opportunities by answering the ask that has been presented to us by developing an in-depth marketing plan that encompasses several platforms and means of distribution, which are shown in the ideation part of this research. The summary of the OneNote. Overall, the OneNote has helped us stockpile plenty of information that we can pull from when developing our plan for Mr. Mallory. It is still a growing resource that we will add to as we need to find more relevant information or learn more about Mr. Mallory and his experience that relate to his current business endeavors. The OneNote has proven to be a valuable resource in itself, compiling all of our research and assortment of notes we have received through our weekly check-ins. At the start of the course, the models were once created providing decent information, but we were lacking the connection between them all. Now, as we have all the information compiled, it makes a lot more sense in how it will solve Mr. Mallory's ask. Now that we are entering our transitional phase of the project, we can take everything that we have learned and start to fully utilize it as we begin to formulate a definite answer to Mr. Mallory's ask.
So this brings us into our next steps. Our next steps will be taking everything we have learned so far and start to refine all of our ideas into one cohesive plan that is both realistic and answers the ask presented to us. Our focus is to create a multi-step marketing plan that promotes the services being offered while drawing in new customers with the use of social media, a business website, and influencers. We are going to divide the work to fit each other's strengths, where one will focus on creating a social media plan and schedule with examples created through programs like Canva. We'll also utilize tools like Google Analytics and SEO checkers to find relevant topics that people are searching when it comes to cycling in the BC area. We can also make use of the recent information received about how Mr. Mallory planned to operate his tours. This will give us a better insight to the process a customer will take when looking to book a tour, what is provided to them, and what is required. We'll also look into the local Cranbrook area and Mr. Mallory's partner, North Star.
And that brings us to our conclusion. Taking what we have learned from filling out all the models, as well as asking Mr. Mallory the questions we came up with, we can begin to create an answer to his ask that he will want to choose and move forward with. Using the foundation of the models we have created, we will be able to determine what is needed to fulfill all aspects of Mr. Mallory's ask, creating a plan to market the business successfully and put the business in a favorable position competitively. The transition will take some time to adjust, but if we work hard, we can create something we can all be proud of, and Mr. Mallory will hopefully want to use it.
Thank you for joining us today, and we look forward to moving on.
Thanks, guys.